Welcome to John and Dave TV. I'm John.
And I'm Dave. This show is to bring the community back together. We're going through a very hard time right now with everything, the self-isolation and everything else. And we thought maybe we should bring new skills or new hobbies to you in your home that you're able to do with us.
So make sure you join us on every episode where you can learn something new every time to try and help get you through this whole staying at home situation.
Today on a Dave and John show.
It's the John and Dave Show.
Parents just need to do their best and not put so much pressure on themselves because there's a lot more distractions at home, especially if the parents are working, if you have multiple children. I would say try to not put so much pressure on themselves and really try to make learning fun.
A few months ago, some were complaining that while they're on teacher strike, that how teachers have it easy. But now parents are teaching. We can't wait to get our kids back to school, right, John?
Oh, I tell you, but this new teaching, I don't commend. I commend the teachers because I know I couldn't do it myself. My two daughters, having them home all day, trying to teach them, and the new math, and it's nothing like when I was a kid. That's for sure.
Yeah, I you know what? Talking to other parents and just me myself, it's hard to adjust guiding our kids, teaching, having them sit there and listen to my whole lecture in class, and there's a kid coming into my room. Yes, sir.
He wants
what?
I'm telling you, they need teaching all the time. See, and the other thing is I got to get used to new computer programs too, because they've used this Google Chrome or whatever, the Google Classroom and that, and it's give me Photoshop, give me stuff like this, that's fine. Start throwing those into the mix, and it's totally, you got to save it here and you got to go to this page, and it's like, oh my God, my kids are smarter than I am.
Yeah. So I guess we're not alone struggling teaching. And so I figured, maybe we should bring in someone and talk to us about teaching and, skills that we can take teaching young children, because a lot of us have young kids. And so my first guest is Michelle Haines. She's a junior and senior K teacher here in Pembroke. And hi, Michelle. How are you today?
Hi, thanks for having me. How are you?
Good. Good.
So tell us a little background about yourself there a bit, Michelle.
Yeah, sure. My name's Michelle, like Dave said. I'm 27 years old, and I'm originally from Ottawa. Now I live in Petawawa, and I teach at Jeanne-Lajoie school. It's a French school in Pembroke, and I've been teaching kindergarten for 3 years now.
Oh, kindergartens. Oh,
yeah.
All the best to you, I tell you.
Yeah, you have to be patient.
Definitely.
For sure. Yeah. I only have one kid at home, and one kid. Well, actually, I have two young kids, and I can't imagine having to teach 20 of them. That must be crazy.
Yeah, we have 27, so it's a lot.
So, I guess right now we kind of, it's hard having our kids listen to us, and they rather be doing playtime. And how can we get over that as parents? And we're not used to getting kids taught at home, and what skills can we take?
Well, the first, advice I would have for parents is to, the first most important thing is family's well-being. So I find some families are contacting me, telling me, oh my gosh, I have 5 kids at home. I can't do it. So I would say, what we give is a guide, and parents just need to do their best and not put so much pressure on themselves because there's a lot more distractions at home, especially if the parents are working, if you have multiple children. I would say try to not put so much pressure on themselves and really try to make learning fun. So I know it can be hard sometimes, but I try to send activities that are like games that are interesting and that they can do with objects that they have in their own home. So yeah, really just prioritize family's well-being and don't say the word homework, try to make it sound more fun, like say the word activity, for example.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Do you find it different yourself teaching this way? Because I know you're used to having them right there in your classroom, but now not only trying to send things home to them, are parents you're finding parents are emailing you back saying, now what can I do? Or they've done that. Is there something else you can teach me? Like, are you getting bombarded with emails from parents all the time?
No, actually, it's been pretty good because I send a plan of the week every Sunday, and it's really descriptive and clear. Every day there's 2 activities to do, and it's so clear that there shouldn't really be any questions. And sometimes there is because of language barrier. I teach in French, and some parents don't speak French. So I tell them they can ask me for help, but so far they've been doing great. So yeah, and it's pretty clear. And I also send extra activities in case they're done what I sent. I send extra things that they can do.
Very cool.
So it's pretty good. And we also do we do 2 Google Hangouts per week where I see the kids and I can interact with them. And the first time was interesting because we did 27 kids at once. And so yeah. But I mean everyone puts their mics on mute. So it's actually great because I don't hear them. So they have to wait for their turn to speak for real, whereas in class they just blurt out everything. So yeah, it's pretty good because their parents can help them unmute the mic and then everyone has a turn to speak.
I think that's a great idea because I know myself, I'm sure a lot of the kids miss their teachers. They're used to seeing them every day. Now they've got us teaching them. I think that's that nice where they get to see them and their friends. I don't know, on your Hangout, can they see each other or just you?
I have a grid view where I can see everybody, but I think for them, they only see the person who's speaking. But so when their friend is speaking, then they can see whoever's talking. And they really enjoy saying hi to each other and saying bye. So a lot of times it's like, oh, bye, Nicola, bye, Noah, bye, Hudson, whatever. And they all, yeah, they love that part, saying hi and bye to everybody.
That's fun. It's almost like, getting them ready for the workforce, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing weekly meetings at home through, different softwares and basically doing the same thing. So it's, young kids getting ready for adult life, I guess. And really young kids, I guess, in your case.
Yes.
Some of them are like extremely shy on video. So it's hard for them, the kids who are more shy, because they feel like everyone's watching them. So some of my students haven't even spoken yet. So that part is difficult because, I mean, it takes them months to speak to me in the beginning of the year. So they're not going to want to speak on the video in front of everyone. So in that case, I do like smaller group meetings, and I think with time they will get used to it. And some of them,
I think that's a good thing though, because I know myself, I've been telling people, being an extrovert myself, it's hard right now putting an extrovert and living this new introvert world that we got right now. But this might be good for some of those students, like you said, who are introverts. They're shy. They're not used to talking to people. Now, this might be a forum to help bring them out of that a little bit. You never know.
yeah. So what we do is if they're too shy to speak, we give them the option to speak with body language, like showing a nod of the head, or doing a thumbs up if you agree, or thumbs down if you disagree, and everyone responds to that at least. So that's good. We ask them like yes or no questions so that they can still contribute. So yeah, that works for them. And some of them now have gotten a little more used to it. Some didn't speak at first, and now they say a few sentences. So I'm confident most of them will get used to it, but it's definitely it's not the same as in class. It's really hard because we only see them twice a week on video. And as much as I'd like to do every day, I know the parents can't, because if they have multiple children and they're working, I mean, my 5-year-olds can't just go on Skype themselves. So it's limited for that.
And
Very
how are
true.
you adjusting with all the changes, like as yourself, not being in school every day and kind of dealing with not seeing your kids every day, or I guess your students, but I guess you can call them your kids also.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely different. I sometimes naturally we worry about our students, about their progress. So sometimes I find myself worrying that, oh my goodness, like they're missing all this time in school. What if they're not ready for grade one, etc. But overall, I think everyone's going to be behind in some way. So it's useless to put all this pressure on myself and on the parents as long as everyone does their best. But I think most of my students are doing great with the home learning. It's not the same thing, and definitely for me it's a change and I miss them a lot.
Mm.
But I'm adapting, and I actually kind of like organizing all this home learning and seeing. I get a lot of feedback and a lot of pictures and messages from parents saying that they like the activities, and so it feels good for me to get all this feedback where it tells me, okay, like it's working and I'm doing a great job. So yeah.
Are you one of the only teachers doing the video calls once a week or something? Because I know some other schools where the teachers aren't doing that. Is this something that the school asks you, like, hey, do you guys want to do a video hangout with your students and that, or is this something you just brought on yourself?
So our principal was very like lenient, and I feel lucky that she trusts us enough to use whatever platform of communication we choose. So she never said, oh, you have to do video calls, but it is encouraged because, especially for younger children, they need to feel that connection. And I think most of the teachers at my school are doing video calls. I don't know how many times a week they're doing it, but I know that overall most of them are doing it. And I think it's a really important part so that the kids still feel connected.
Mm-hmm.
I
I think it's
find
a
it
great
funny.
idea.
Oh, sorry, John. This is what's different, not being in studio and not be able to see each other, and no one going to speak and we're
Yeah.
talking over the other. Um, I find it interesting uh, because like I have two kids. I go to two different schools, and one of them is actually inside Michelle's class, and that's how
Yes.
we know Michelle. And then even talking to other parents, that's teaching and all that, and I find out, that I kind of think, oh, you should be exactly the same as my son, but things kind of seem kind of extremely different, and a lot of the teachers don't feel engaged and or parents don't feel engaged with the school as much as they feel engaged or we feel engaged with yourself and your class, and that I think it's a fantastic way to be talking with children and all that. Do you think it's something maybe that every single school should adapt, or is it something does it take you a lot of time to set up these hangout meets, or what do you do during those classes with them?
I think, yeah, I would highly recommend that every teacher does video chats. They can use there's lots of platforms, and I use Google Hangouts, and I find it's great and it works perfect for me and for my students. Yeah, so I think everyone should at least once a week to see each student. And sorry, what was your other question, Dave?
I kind of put way too much at once, did I?
What was your next part?
The next part would be, like what is it that you teach on? You just kind
Oh,
of kind
right.
of go on and talk to them and kind of say, hi, how are you? Or is it actually like a class lesson?
It depends. So the first time that we all saw each other again on video, I made sure to really say hi to everyone and ask everyone to share something. Everyone who wanted to speak, anyways, got a chance to say something to the class. And every video chat we have, I make sure to say hi to each kid because, like I said, they love that part, and I don't want to just like dismiss them and go right into my lesson. So, because I haven't seen them in a few days, so I make sure to say hi to everyone. Sometimes we start with a question that they can answer, um, but we change the lesson every time. So we say hi to everyone, we maybe have a little chat, like, how are you doing? Show me your thumbs up if you're doing good, type of thing. And then we change the lesson. So sometimes we just have a discussion with a topic. Like yesterday, we had a discussion, tell us who your favorite character is. And then sometimes I read a book. And I make sure to ask lots of questions, and I try to get everyone to speak as much as I can. Sometimes, so what we're going to do next week is a little math lesson, but it's more like question based. It's not just me speaking and saying a bunch of stuff. I make sure to really involve everyone and to give everyone a turn to speak, or else I start to see them like jumping on their bed and twirling around. And then I'm like, it's your turn to have a question now. Stop jumping on your bed. But yeah, like I have to keep them all involved, or else they do. Like they roll around, they jump on their bed. So I really try to involve everyone.
It's almost like having a classroom, but having, if you have 20 kids, having 20 helpers in there too, because I'm sure the parents are right there with them to settle them down. I guess in a classroom atmosphere, it's just you and maybe one helper or something. I don't know how that works usually.
Yeah, it's for kindergarten anyways. It's me, and I have an ECE who works with me, and we're 27 kids. So definitely, it has a lot of challenges sometimes, especially lesson time where they have to sit on the carpet and listen. I mean, it's really difficult. So it is an advantage for that sense, because the parent is always sitting right beside them and, helping them focus and stuff like that. So that's a good part to it, for sure.
So do you have like any recommendations right now for the rest of the week with the parents of how they can sort of keep them in that learning mode instead of just a play mode all the time, and keep that learning process going? Because it's probably like they feel like it's summer holiday already.
Yeah, well, I would say it depends on the family, but I think for most families, what would work best is structure, to have a designated time to do the activities or the work that is assigned to them, and always keep that same time every day as much as you can, because at school we have a very strict structure. There's recess time, there's lesson time, there's lunch time. So I think if they're used to that, it would be really beneficial to keep a certain structure. I wouldn't suggest doing like hours and hours of work every day. It's really important that they still go and have playtime, especially go play outside, because they can learn a lot from playing, and they can learn a lot being at home, like real life skills. Like I have a student who always wants to go in the garage and work on stuff with his dad. And I'm like, well, go, like, let him come in for 15 minutes. Like, he'll never learn that at school. So take the time, learn life skills. But definitely I would encourage a certain type of structure and schedule.
Very good advice. See, Dave, you got to take your kids in the garage sometimes.
Yeah, well, I gotta find time to get in the garage. That's what the issue is, I think.
I guess I need a garage. Although my kids are 12 and 18, so I don't think they want to do anything with dad right now. So.
Oh, well.
Oh, geez. It's funny. We're just talking about that this morning actually with my kids. When they're really young, they're all about dad, 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 and now all of a sudden it seems right now they're all like mom, mom, mom. So I wonder if that dad, dad, dad phase is gonna come back. Well, Michelle, thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate to have you on, and hopefully, some other parents will get inspired by your comments. And yeah, John, anything to add?
No, I agree because I know myself, I don't have any kindergarten kids here, but my nephew is pretty young still, and I know he's doing stuff in the garden. It's great advice, not just for kindergartens, what you've been giving out here. I think the advice you're giving can go with almost any grade too. And I'm hoping a lot of the other teachers are getting on board. I know my kids are learning a lot still. They're getting stuff from their teachers. So I think, no, I learned a lot from you today, and I know I can incorporate some of that with my daughter too, my 12-year-old. So thank you for being here with us.
No problem. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, great pleasure. Thank you. Take care now.
And I hope your home learning goes well. I know it can be challenging, but you guys are doing great.
No, thank you. And I applaud everything you're doing. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks. Take care.
So Dave, that was some great advice. I know myself, I think we should send this tape to all the different principals and schools in the town and get them doing some of the same thing. That whole video stuff I think is really great and something that they can all implement with their students too.
Yeah, for sure. And it actually keeps the kids, entertained, engaged still in class. And when they do go back to class, and hopefully it'll be soon for the sake of all parents, they're able to, get back in that routine and stay with the teacher and have that interaction still.
Exactly. And I don't think it's even just with the teacher. I think with my daughter, the one thing with all this staying home stuff, she misses her friends and that she gets to go and hang out with at school too. And if they can figure out a way to do the video where they can all see each other too, I think that would help. Just have them on mute and come on when they can, but they can see their friends and interact also, make it feel like they're back in the classroom, make it more of a learning atmosphere. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and you know what? And our great advice that she gave is, establish a routine in the house. And we definitely don't have a routine right now. It's kind of, we're able, whenever we're able to fit schoolwork in, we fit it in. But then whenever we, after that, it kind of goes well, you want to play, do you want to do this? The only really real routine is what time we're going to bed at night. Because
pretty much
now kids being at home, and let's hope they go to bed early.
Exactly. I find they're staying up later and sleeping later now too. So we got to get them back in that routine. So, but yeah, I think it's a great idea. But I want to thank everybody who did come out and watch us today. I think for our first show, I think that was an awesome way to start it. And I hope everybody learned something from that. And hopefully they'll come back and watch while we interview a lot more other people and valuable vendors here in the Valley.
Yeah, it's the whole goal of this show is to get, our residents or our community out to you and speak to you on how they're dealing with this. So hopefully we'll see you next time.
Exactly, and show that you're not alone.